But Jim, let's now transport ourselves back to SmackDown.
Oh, I forgot we were still doing that. Well, here's what happened. After we got the I think the machine guns and the mechanical Garzas, it was main event time, the number one contender match. It's supposed to be Drew McIntyre and Jacob Fatu. And then, as we mentioned earlier, even though that it has been somewhat widely reported that Jacob Fatu was out, and we've already done a program on it for what was described as a non-wrestling injury. More on this in a moment. They're still just on this show. They really don't give a shit anymore whether everybody knows it's phony. If it's gonna, except if somebody breaks their leg and goes down and is non-ambulatory, they're just going to go through with this shit no matter what, I guess. But nevertheless, the music plays for Fatu, no Fatu. And then on the screen, they're running, it's chaos. Oh my God, Fatu's down. Somebody's turned over the Jolly Green Giant's erector set. I don't know what's laying on him. It's a giant thing, and he's bleeding from the mouth, and there's teeth laying all over the floor. And there's a big old pool of blood. And there's lots of teeth on the floor. And then we'll get back to that. But Aldous not Aldous, but Drew McIntyre came out and cut the promo first and called him Bleeding Gums Fatu and is telling the referee to raise his hand, give me the match. This guy's obviously not able to compete, whatever. Then Aldous came out. And he's like, did you have something? I didn't have anything to do with it. I want this match. I want the win. Give it to me now. And Cody comes out and says, you know what you did. I don't think he did it. But nevertheless, these fans wanted a number one contender match, Cody says. So you wanted the title match? Well, let's have it right here, right now. And the thing I could see, again, this is so Dusty-ish. Cody's dressed in his street clothes. Dusty would have been not in a fucking custom-made suit, but he would have been in his Dusty apparel. And it would have added to the fucking impromptu-ness of the match and the way that they kicked into it. Except as soon as they started the fight, they went to a break, and you had to sit there for 3 minutes if you did and go, And that's one thing that if I could change about their production versus AEW's, at least AEW will give you a few minutes to get hooked on the match or involved in the match in some kind of way. Most time it doesn't work, but you have the opportunity. Here, it's like as soon as they actually start fighting, we don't want to see it. But nevertheless, and they did the picture-in-picture, yes, but it's ridiculous. At which they fought all over the arena and then back and came back with 8 minutes on the air and then rang the bell for the match, and boom, they just had to have a flurry, and the fans were into it. And it was a back and forth fight. And then Cody made a big comeback, and Drew threw him over the rail, but Cody grabbed the belt and crowned Drew with it and got disqualified. And then Cody cleared off the desk. It was going to give him the crossroads on the desk, but security came out and flooded him. So Cody jumped up to the top rope and dove off on everybody. And then they drug Drew out, just like they drag out most of their television programming. So for what it was, that was very effective. But again, it's, we just totaled up the 15 minutes of excitement in a 2-hour program, and and so Fatu, but I'll give you a chance to chime in on all of it. Now they're saying Fatu, it's dental work. They were at first saying he was going to be out of the ring maybe till into 2026. Dental work?
Wait, someone said he was
I
going to
mean,
be out until the end of 2026?
No, into the calendar year 2020. At the first story was he would be out into 2026. That was a couple weeks ago. Now they're saying, oh, it might not be as long. What is he having his fucking jaw replaced? That fucking guy is gonna, dental work can be painful, and I would think if he's having something extensive done, you wouldn't want to work for a couple weeks. But I don't know what he could be having done that they would need to injure him on camera and him take a month or two off. The dentists out there in the cult corner, because we're not trying to knock Jacob Fatu. We love him. So we're trying to get to the bottom of this. What could they be doing that he would need to take enough time off that you would need to hurt him on television and knock all of his teeth out on the floor? That's what I'm wondering.
Well, it's not uncommon for wrestlers to show up with all new teeth the last few years. I mean, look at his cousin Roman Reigns.
Well, yeah, but Roman only wrestled one time to goddamn a month to begin with, or even less. I don't see Jacob Fatu as the kind of guy who would say, I'm going to have some elective bullshit done, so take me off television. I think he wants to work. He wants to get over. He wants to be a fucking star. I'm trying to think what is fucked up so bad in his mouth that, and I'm not even trying to belittle him. I need clarity on this. Somebody out there besides Dr. Mike Lano with a dentistry degree.
He might be the cause of all these problems. Jacob Fatu's from the Bay Area. Maybe.
Shit, do you think oh my God, and that's it. He's been worked on by Dr. Mike Lano. That would take even the Samoan werewolf down to his knees. Holy God, I've said we might be doing some sad singing and slow walking coming up for Jacob Fatu. If Dr. Mike Lano has been inside of his head.
You know, one of my favorite defenses years ago that some people would have for Mike Lano's not crazy would be, no, I used to talk to him all the time and everything seemed normal. And then the more would come out, like, yeah, but when I was talking to him, I'd hear like a drill in the background. He'd be calling people to talk wrestling while they're patients in the fucking chair. Allegedly.
But at least the patients were unconscious. So they never know. Allegedly. No, I just alleged that myself.
Well, again, Jacob Fatu, we wish you well. If it is Dr. Michael Lano you're seeing, you may want to go to a new dentist.
But, and here's the thing also with Fatu's, the giant pool of blood that they had on the ground along with the teeth, and at the same time, by the time they went back to see him again, before this main event, or before the whole thing was over with, he was still spitting, but it wasn't really bleeding still, and it was kind of like I've seen blood on the floor, and I've not seen that amount of teeth. You need a baseball bat, right? But I've seen blood on the floor, and I've had a tooth knocked out, and it didn't look very legitimate. But he would not have been. His face would have needed to be reconstructed if somebody had knocked that many teeth out of that guy all at the same time. He would have not have been sitting there spitting.
Hey, one last thing on this before we close up SmackDown. You mentioned before that you're starting not to think, or you don't believe that it was Drew that took out Jacob Fatu. Could this just be a way to finish up everything with Fatu and Drew without actually finishing anything up, so that when he comes back, there doesn't have to be a match? They can move him on to something else?
Well, there can always be a match, and they might still want to reignite it, but they want to get the attention off of it because they're not going to deliver what they said they were going to deliver. So they want the people to want something else, which is why they turned them down this primrose path. So I mean, they got to do what they got to do, but they may very well revisit it at some point in time when they can give it. But now the reason why they did this, obviously, is they're going to take the place of, or they're going to replace a major Fatu match or something in the plan with Cody and Drew now on something that we've yet to fucking determine, just because they're changing shit around a little bit and they want to lean the people to think in a different direction.
Well, that was WWE Smackdown, and we shall return right after this short commercial timeout.